Hello, this is Anna Imagination with the Healing Garden, and welcome to Shifting Perspectives. So, I'm just taking everything in and I'm looking at how everything is with the garden, and I'm just looking at the layout. And I love this part of business so much. My favorite thing in the world to do is to build businesses. Oh my God, I love building businesses. This to me is candy. It's taking an idea, putting the idea way out there, and just thinking, how far can I take this? And then you start building it to mirror exactly what you see in 20 years. What would that look like? What would it entail? And you say things like, well, I would need a publicist. I need a business plan. And you start breaking all down. I want to be a podcaster and I want to be a philosopher. These are identity exercises. Come do them with me. The words I am is all about self identification. It's the naming. It is the naming. The naming is the part of the self where you have the words to define you. That is what names are. That's what words are. It is defining. I'm going to say it and it's not going to make sense to me yet, but it will for future Anna. The cognitive core is surface level. Put it deeper into the perspectives. It's there. Put it deeper into the perspectives. It's there. Put it deeper into the perspectives, Anna. It's there. I don't know what that means yet, but I will in the future. I can take my words and I can give them to you, and I can open up my mind and pull you into me. That's what words are to me. Every time I sat down and I wrote a book, every one of my books begins with the words, sink into my books with me. I will show you what I see. It was the only place I could articulate everything that I saw was in my fantasy novels. Go back to my fantasy novels. I throw golden threads around, created by the elements. There's a lot of the healing garden inside my fantasy novels. I have every tool that I need. When I stepped into the ninth perspective, I saw every tool I have ever needed right at my fingertips. I had been so beautifully trained for this, and I had no idea. I was so lonely as a child that I would spend every day talking to myself in the mirror, just like this. Oh, I got so much fucking abuse for it. I was so lonely that I would stand in front of the mirror and monologue just like this every single day. I had been doing this since I was 10 years old. I did not know it then, but it was actually my alters talking with each other. And I would just stand in front of the mirror, and I do mean like 5 to 8 hours every day from the time I was 8 to present day. The only difference between my podcast and my mirror is a few months ago I went, I need to do this in front of a camera. That's the only difference. That is the only difference. I could not write my ideas down fast enough. And I went, I'm going to do this live. So I switched over and started podcasting. So I could record the shit instead of trying to document all of it in journal form. It got to the point where the ideas came so quickly. The articulation was so precise. Finally, I was finally speaking faster than I could write. Writing has an evolution to it. It starts off with just emotion, and then it changes where it's faster and easier for you to journal. And then your throat chakra opens up and you can speak. And when you speak and you practice enough, you realize suddenly you're speaking a lot faster than you can write. That's how fast the ideas come to you. Talking is ideas. Talking is ideas. Talking is ideas. It is the channel. It is the conduit to the self. That's what talking is. And when you can articulate, you can paint with words. And that's what I do. I paint with words. I have always wanted to be a public speaker. I've always wanted to be on stage. I've always wanted to be validated and heard and listened to. I don't want to be in a classroom. I would rather stand on a stage and tell people what I know. I don't want to follow a script, and I'm not going to. Because I have something that I refer to as I am. As I am is a state of living. It's a lifestyle. The as I am lifestyle. And this is it. I do not get changed for propriety. I was talking to the host, and he was giving me some pointers. And he said to me, "We need to clean you up." I said, "Excuse me?" He says, "Well, it's for the niche, and it's because the kind of people who are..." No. I'm going to make this very clear. The whole thing that I do is being authentic. You are not going to be allowed to put makeup on me. My whole thing is about being authentic. I can't talk about being authentic and show up on a stage wearing a suit. I cannot talk about being authentic and then stifle my swearing. I cannot talk as an expert on being authentic and then wear a societal expectation. How many societal expectations are you wearing? We wear our societal expectations. So I have a principle. As I am. That is my principle. It's about principle. Oh, we say that all the time. It's about the principle of it. Well, what's the principle? Because there's the principle and then there's your principle. What is your principle? Oh, let's Google this word. What is the principle? Wow. A person who has controlling... Oh, wait, that's the principle of a school. I'm like, did I spell it right? A first in order of importance. Primary. Primary. It's the principle of the matter. I guess they're trying to say it is the whole point of the matter. Maybe that's what they're trying to say. As I am. So that's my whole... That's everything. That is everything. I am an expert on authenticity. Those are my words. Authentic living is simply living without conditions. It's refusing to wear any expectations. It is standing up to perspective abuse. It is standing so far outside of the system that you tell it how to live because no one tells you how to live. I am the leading expert on authenticity. This is how it's done. It's refusing to wear a mask. It's refusing to cater to propriety. It's refusing to do what you are told to do just because everyone else is doing it. It's thinking individually. It's preserving the self. It's completely allowing yourself to embrace full autonomy. It's stepping into polyamorous living. It's growing. It's pushing your boundaries. It's seeing what it is you are capable of. It is learning self-reliance. Honest business is when you know you can deliver. And that's what you offer. I know I can deliver quality content when I open my mouth. Oh God, do I know it. I know the energy I exude in person. Oh, yes, I do. It's the one thing that breaks my heart about podcasting. You'll see when you meet me, you will know. That is the one thing that I have to ask two permissions whenever I hug someone. The first permission is, may I hug you? As it should be. The second question is, you need to understand that my energy is powerful. I have made grown men cry just from hugging me. You need to be prepared. Now, may I hug you? I can control it now. I could not once upon a time. Oh my God. When I still don't know what happened. Come on. Ninth perspective brain. What happened? There was a surge. There was a pulse. It was a magnetic pulse, absolutely in the magnetic field. I had a magnetic pulse right above my head, right in my hippocampus. That is what happened. But why? I don't know. That I don't know. But that's what happened. Is I had an electromagnetic power surge right above my hippocampus. It was so powerful that it knocked me and the other girl to the floor. We were 4 feet apart, and it was just this blast. I have no idea what it was. I had hugged her. I had given her my energy. We bonded. She said thank you, walked away. She made it 4, 6 feet. And then this boom right over my head. And it knocked us both to the ground. And we just looked at each other, and she said, what was that? And I said, I don't know. If you have any information on this, I would love to know. That's when I started studying physics again, because I'm trying to figure out what that was. It is the most mysterious thing that has ever happened to me. And all I can think of is it was definitely electromagnetic surge. Definitely. And I felt it like right here. I just don't know what it was. That happened an hour before I was raped in May. In fact, because of the rape, I spent so little mental time thinking about that incident. And in the back of my mind, I kept thinking about that particular incident and what happened. So when you define yourself, you put it all to word. You name it, and you know your coordinates. It's finding your coordinates. That's your name, is your coordinates. It's so fucking important to know your name. Who are you? I am Queen of the Darkness. That is my name, Queen of the Darkness. Somebody gave me that name, and I went, oh yes, that is mine. Most of my names have been given to me. Fey Queen is one of my names. That is one of my mistress names. And Satan's Wife, that is also one of my names. And of course, Imagination. Imagination Bergen, Kalan. Kalan was difficult because that was actually the fake wing. And when you have multiple personality disorder, one of the assignments they give you is give everybody a name. And I was like, what am I going to name her? Her name is the fake wing. And they always start off as like names. For instance, I had the warrior, I had the mistress, and I had the witch, and then I had the goddess. And Bergen always had a name. Okay, that's fine. I'm mothering. That was me mothering. So it was very much. It was very much. How do I say it? It's defining who you are. So Kalan was actually the name of my fictional character that I borrowed when I was giving her a name, the fake wing. And once you know your name, once you are defined, that's when you can build a business. I mean, you can build a business prior to that, but the quality is going to be lower. So every time you define you and get your name, your business goes up a notch. Every time you find another one of your names, your business just goes up another notch, and it just keeps ticking that up. I'm very excited for this change. Very, very excited. I did not think I was ready for it. You will never get to the next growth stage until you are ready for it. But I can feel it all clicking. I feel I've been doing things with the business that I didn't want to do, but I thought I had to do them, like the master classes. I dreaded them. And I have a principle. This is my rule. This is my rule. This is Anna's rule. Take it with you, use it. This is the rule. If it's meant to be, it's easy. If it's hard, it's because you're not supposed to be doing it. This is once you're aligned, by the way. This is really important. Once you're aligned. If you're not aligned, this rule doesn't apply to you. You have to be aligned for this rule to work. Because let's say there's the alignment line. This is the alignment line. This is aligned and this is not aligned. So you're over here. Think of it as a bunch of garbage you got to walk through just to get to where it's supposed to be. Oh my God, this is so easy. Why wasn't I here long before? Oh my God, everything over here is so easy. Oh my God, it's going to be easier over here. See? See? So once you get aligned, it's easy. Everything's easy. Everything is easy. So that when you find just a little bit something that doesn't align, it's like you're pushing on that barrier going, oh my God, it's so hard. That's resistance. When I first put myself out here, go back to my videos. Go all the way back. Fifth perspective. Psych Soup. You can see where I was. I was afraid to be a hippie. I tried to dress up. And the longer and the more I got into this, the more I realized I can be me. The reason why I podcast, the reason why, this is my favorite reason, wasn't to provide you with shit. My reasons, I had like a core couple things. My first reason for wanting to podcast. Oh, I love this. Was because I was tired of journaling and I was impatient. Every time I sat down to write it and journal it, I was just like, ugh, I don't want to write anymore. I don't want to write anymore. That's it. And I went, what is faster than writing? Podcasting. I'll talk to a camera. So actually I started dictating. I was journaling, so I did a lot of articles. And you can go back to exploratory dialogues on my website and see all of my early articles when I was like Perspective 5. And then I switch over to audio recording, which are all on my phone. I'm still trying to figure out how to get all of that particular stage of my life onto the computer. And it's all of my visions. It's early, it's a year ago. And then I started podcasting because that wasn't good enough. It had to go faster. And I realized I need proof and documentation that this shit is going down, because when it comes to a certain point, I'm going to need to go back and research this shit. So for research purposes, I put it up here because it was too much coming too fast. I couldn't keep up with it. So I put it here to organize it. And this became my laboratory, where I turned it into my research lab, and I went, okay, let's figure this shit out. And meanwhile, I'm building the garden way over there. And then I went, oh my God, this is all about the identity. I need to be practicing my voice. And I realized that. So then I built Subconscious Dialogues as a means to give myself a stage platform, because I wanted to be an actress. And I went, well, that's part of my identity. I have to explore and embrace that side of me. The best way to do that is by laying out this massive platform where I could just regurgitate my thoughts and just embrace the actress. And I learned a lot about myself. And then I learned that I wanted to do podcasting. I learned that I wanted to do my own talks and my own speeches about this stuff. And I want to tell my story, because it's a fucking hell of a story. And I went, oh my God, I already have an award-nominated book out. I already have the memoir to back everything up. I already have the credentials. I'm already appearing on websites, on mental health websites. Why couldn't I not see this? And it's because we're not in the right perspective, because we have that much perspective abuse to dig out of, that we can't even see the right perspective, our perspective. And that's the whole point of finding your name, is as you go through the perspective, you figure it out. And every time you are saying the words, I want, you are actually siphoning who you are. That's what the whole thing is about, is your alignment. I want, you're really saying, align me, align me, align me. Every time you say the words, I want, you are telling the universe to align you. Every time you dream and you talk about who you want to be and where you want to grow and what you want to do when you grow up, you are telling the universe to align you. That's what manifestation is. You are telling the universe, these are my coordinates. This is where I want to be aligned to. Every time you gratitude journal, and it feeds, it embeds itself so deep into your brain. I don't want to do scripts. I don't want to do schedules. It's not authentic. And the whole point of me is as I am, which is the whole fucking point. You need to live as you are. Show up and say, you get me as I am. You show up to work. This is what I am. I am not going to conform to anything anymore. As I am. That's what I teach. That's what I live. So I suppressed all of the things that I didn't want to do, that I did want to do, but felt I had to change myself for. Once again, I thought I had to choose between conformity and being myself. And I'm sitting here going, that's my MO. That's my brand. And sure enough, the minute I get my first business meeting, well, it's not my first business meeting, it's my first host, professional host, asking me this. And he was very, very wonderful about it, absolutely flexible about it, absolutely like wonderful, wonderful. And yeah, his advice was phenomenal. But it raised the question. His inquiry presented it in my brain that I could finally sit back and analyze it. That I could sit back and go, wait a minute. This is going to be an issue when I go on TV. This is going to be an issue when I go over here. This is going to be an issue. And all I could think of is Adam Sandler showing up at the Grammys wearing a sweatshirt. And then Jennifer Aniston screaming, I told you not to wear a sweatshirt. No, you said wear. No, I told you not to wear a sweatshirt. And you're wearing a sweatshirt at the Grammys. And there's Adam Sandler wearing a sweatshirt at the Grammys. That's me. I would totally, like, that is, yep, that's me. And I would totally dress up because I love dressing up. No, that's totally me too. Like, I would totally dress up. Absolutely. I would find something really awesome. Oh yeah, I would totally go all out with that. But when you see yourself in a different light, when you hold yourself to your authentic standard, ooh, I like those words, authentic standards. Authentic standards. That's nice. When you see yourself in your authentic, okay, so I was chewing on parsley. I'm like, what is in my mouth? It's parsley. When you see yourself with authentic standards, the game changes. And there's levels to this. There's 6-stage authentic standards. You don't get to be 6th stage unless you're authentic, but you haven't figured out how to be yet. 5th stage is the breakout stage. That's, I'm done with this. I'm going to be authentic now. 5th stage, and they be authentic in their business, but they're trying to conform because they're scared. So they're stuck between, I got to be authentic and the same. That's what 5ths spend. That's why it's a transition period. 5ths, it's very hard. 6 is all about being authentic. And it's all about scraping out all the excess that, oh, this isn't authentic. I need to throw this out. Oh, this is so 4th perspective. I need to throw that out. Like, that's what 6 perspectives do. They're completely shedding all of the bullshit that was just pounded on top of them. 7th, you're free from all the bullshit, and you're naked, and you're on the other side. That's when you go, oh my God, the Matrix. And you realize just how big the fucking thing, oh my God, it's huge. And you're naked, and you have no words to go, holy shit, would you look at that? You can't even say those words. So you're just mute, walking among everybody, seeing things differently. And you can't say a word. That's what 7th perspective is like, is you just going, because you can just see shit. And you're just, it's the, oh my God, what the fuck has happened stage. And you don't have any words in your vocabulary to explain this shit. Then you start to value words. You start to appreciate words. And you think to yourself, I am going to become the master of words, so I never have this problem again. And boom, you're in the 8th perspective. Welcome to the 8th perspective, when you value words more than anything else. And then you realize how little we all can actually talk to each other, how incompetent we all are with just basic communication amongst each other. A friend of mine messaged me today for an energy group she's doing where you can talk to animals. And my whole thought, I very politely declined, but my whole thought was, we can't talk to ourselves and each other, but we're going to talk to animals. My goodness, the world has a lot of things backwards. And and she said it's one of her most, like, people love this. And all I could think of is, why are people trying to talk to their dogs and their cats when they can't even talk to themselves? See, that is what healing is. You are restoring the communication system of the self. You have to first learn to talk to yourself. Then you have to learn how to talk to people you love. Then you have to learn how to talk to people you hate. And then you have to learn how to go without. And then you have to learn how to articulate all of it so you can communicate with everybody. Perspective 8 ends the perspective gap. There are no perspective gaps at perspective 8. It is extraordinary, the evolution of our language. And then for the rest of perspective 8, I wanted to learn how to keep I needed to preserve my opinions and fight for my perspective without invalidating or harming another perspective. So there was this turmoil at perspective 8 where I wanted to protect the people I was talking to and defend myself. Now that is a power with words. Absolutely a beautiful power to possess. And I'm watching people articulate and break down the words for manifestation and spells. And I'm sitting here going, most of you cannot communicate with yourselves. Stop dabbling in a perspective that's higher than yours and focus on the lesson at hand. The lesson for a perspective 2. is learn that you are more than your community. My brother can really learn that lesson. He is convinced that his only importance is the community. And if he doesn't have the community, he's nothing. He is convinced that if he goes and gets another kind of job, he will be labeled a scab because he's part of the union workers who are all twos. And he doesn't want to be called a scab. So he stays in a job that drains him, that he hates, just to remain loyal and a place to belong among community two. The lesson you are supposed to be learning with perspective two is that you are more than your community. And my brother has not yet learned that lesson. Perspective threes, narcissists out there. Perspective threes really need to internalize the value of law and order. That law and order for everyone means no one hurts you either. And perspective fours need to learn that a person can self-govern all on their own without you telling them how to live. Perspective fours, baby boomers, you really need to learn that people can self-govern. A 5-year-old can be at perspective 8. A 10-year-old can be at perspective 2. A 40-year-old could be at perspective 3. A 70-year-old can be at perspective 1. And a 15-year-old can be at perspective 9. So really, perspective fours need to learn that people can self-govern, that you don't need to dictate that for everybody by putting them all in the same box. Perspective fives need to learn that they need to pay attention to their actions. Perspective fives need to understand that their actions affect other people. That when they make a decision, everyone's affected. Perspective sixes. Perspective sixes just need to hang on. Perspective sixes are the hardest perspective by none. Looking back, looking at all of them, perspective 6 was a nightmare. Because I'm going to do a whole thing on perspective 6s. They are my special love people. Oh my God, perspective 6s. They have to learn to literally release the material world. They have to completely detach from the material world because the electromagnetic field is pulling on their hippocampus. At perspective 6, your hippocampus gets enlarged so you can finally feel the electromagnetic field. That is why your third eye opens. Mercury retrograde affects you. Blue moons affect you now because you feel literally the entire electromagnetic field pulling and shifting on you because your hippocampus is finally large enough to pick it up. And if you are not aligned, most people are not, it rips you mentally apart. And you can't tell fiction from reality from the material plane. And it all blends together. That's because all perspective is your truth. And that's what you're stepping out of. There's a lot on perspective 6. But in order to survive it, because you are transferring over to the electromagnetic field in the ethereal plane, you have to let go of the material plane. It's pulling you. And the more you resist this separation, the more it's going to hurt you. The more you cling to material possessions, material ideals, the matrix, the fourth perspective, conformity. If you are anything but authentic, it will rip you apart. That's why it hurts. That's why Mercury retrograde hurts so many sixth perspectives, is because they do not have authentic standards, because they are not living aligned, because they are not authentic. You can't have a single mask when that hits. So it hurts you and it rips you apart until you drop the masks. It's like that monkey that puts its hand in a box and grabs an orange and then it can't pull its arm out. Six perspectives will not release the orange. And it's going to hurt you unless you do. You've got to let it go. And then you get your arm back. You get freedom. But you have to trust that where you're going is okay. But it requires a complete cleanse of everything. It strips you naked. You have to learn how to let go. And you have to really bite down hard on the humble pie. Oh, yeah. Sixth perspective is all about swallowing humility after humility. You grovel your way into the seventh perspective. And then you're shown the matrix and you're blindfolded. And then you're gagged. And you're just sitting there looking at this matrix going, oh, holy fuck. And you can't share it with anyone. So you really, really have to love your loneliness. That is what the sixth perspectives are resisting, is they know where they're going. They instinctively know it. It's a beautiful thing. They know it. They know, without even being there, every one of them senses it, that if they let go, they are walking into loneliness. They are exchanging all of their loneliness or all of their companionship to not feel pain. And that is literally what you are doing to get through the sixth perspective. And then you get to the seventh, and the pain is gone, but you are alone with you and the universe and the truth. And you have no voice. And you are there until you go, okay, I value voice. Then the eighth perspective opens up to you. And in the eighth perspective, you have to learn how to preserve your opinions while also protecting and being mindful of the opinions of others. And you also have to master the art of articulation and communication. And now that I'm in the ninth perspective, I'm looking at it going, well, reciprocity, manifestation, giving, and sex are definitely a huge part of this, but it's definitely giving, a lot of giving. The whole, and I feel that so strong that it's all about giving. It's like money doesn't exist in the ninth perspective. That's exactly what it feels like. Money does not exist here. The eighth perspective, let's talk about money, because money is interesting. Money has evolved all through this. Oh, this is a thing. And I don't want to do this just yet. Like, I don't want to dive into it. But basically, at eighth perspective, at sixth perspective, you go, ew, money. At seventh perspective, you go, okay, money is just energy. I see it now. And you literally see it. But you don't get it. Eighth perspective, okay, I get that money is energy, but what? No, money is a conduit. That I figured out in eighth perspective. Money is a conduit. But now that I'm in the ninth perspective, I'm going, oh, money doesn't exist. Money does not exist. It is all in our brains. It is an abstract hypothetical. It's just an abstract hypothetical. Money is just an energy. It's a conduit. It's a consequence. It is just a channel. It's an energy. It is literally part of the gifting energy. It is the same thing as the gifting energy. It is the same thing as the gifting energy. And it blew my mind away. I went, what the fuck? It's the same thing as the gifting energy. Money is gifting. But you've got a bunch of second, third, fourths, and fifths hoarding the money, holding the money. Now they're turning that money energy into taking. That's why the energy money is the way it is in perspective second, 2, 3, 4, and 5. is because they hoard that money energy. They hoard all the energy. They hoard the sex energy. They hoard the love energy. They've got their monogamy that they throw down. Monogamy is, oh, I have things to say on monogamy. But they use it to hoard. And that's scarcity mindset. Fives, that transition five, it goes in between. It's back and forth. But sixes hate money. Sixes are going, money is disgusting. Money is disgusting. I hate money. And then sevens are all like, oh my God, money is an energy. Why am I hating an energy? Oh my God, I'm hating an energy. And then you have guilt. You do. You go through a stage of, oh my God, back when I was 6%, oh my God, I was hating on the energy. Yeah, seventh perspectives. Like, but you can't say any of that because you're mute. You just have the feeling that you can't define. And you're just going, oh, it was horrible. Not as bad as sixth perspective, but it was pretty bad. Seventh was calm, actually. It was like being in a cold stainless steel room of just silence. And well, it's just me and the universe. What are you anyway? And then you realize, oh, this is Judgment Day. I read about this in a book somewhere. Yeah, the universe and I had a lot to talk about. And then we looked at the karma pool and I went, it's a bank account. Oh, energy is money and it's a bank account. I get this now. There you go. Money is energy and you are literally giving and taking from the karma bank account every time you do a transaction, a monetary transaction. It's really awesome. And it's just the energy of giving and receiving. So now that you get into the ninth perspective, I'm going, yes, let's apply sex to this because that's giving and this is going to be, I'm so excited. Like, I am so excited. Oh, I cannot wait. Yes, energy. So technically sex is money. That's what I'm getting here. Sex and money are the same thing. Really, they are. My God, it's amazing. Okay, they're not. I got to figure that out. It feels like sex is channeling. No, money is also channeling. I don't know how they're different yet. I gotta pull that apart. But yeah, it's all energy. So now I can see how, like, I can see all the different ways we use the energy. That's what I'm trying to say. In the eighth perspective, okay, seventh perspective, you see the matrix. You see that there's a sea and you got your little ship and you just got on your little dinghy and now you're sailing on your dinghy away from the massive ship, and then you look up and you realize it's an entire city plopped in the middle of the ocean and you are this little dinghy and you're just going, wow, that's big. That is the seventh perspective. And you're just looking out in this massive energy pool and you can see everything. Almost, you know that there's perspectives in there and you've got yours and you can now see the energy pool and you're going, whoa. And then you get into the eighth perspective and you can see all 8 perspectives and you can see all of them arguing about whose perspective is the right one. But there's the majority of the world right now is fourth perspectives, baby boomers. So they're all going, we're the right perspective. So they're beating up everybody else, telling us what we should be. So all of us are crammed into the fourth box because the baby boomers currently own the planet. And when they pass, there's going to be literally an end of the fourth period. The fourth perspective age went from the age of enlightenment and it goes all the way to now. And we are at the end of it. So now we're actually moving into the fifth perspective with millennials taking the lead. Millennials are misunderstood because they're fifth perspectives. Millennials are the fifth perspective. They're going to challenge the norm. They're going to tell fourth perspectives to fuck off with their boxes. That's fifth perspective. I can self-govern. Thank you. I don't need your rules. Now they're going to go to the extreme and they're going to rebel. They're going to rebel of, these are my rules now. I've got the power and the authority and I've got ethics. Because now they have, they have power, authority, but they also have their ethics. So now they're kind of like doing their own thing. They're learning their autonomy. They're learning their authority, just like third perspectives do. Third perspective, this is why third and fifths are so beautifully intertwined, is because they are both struggling for the definition of their autonomy. And they are pushing themselves to the limit to determine what they are capable of. That is the gorgeous complement, the harmony between third and fifth, the third and the fifth. The second and the fourth, oh, those are all about communities and rules. You get this gorgeous sandwich, communities and rules. That's 2 and 4. That's why 2 and 4s get along so well. But then 2s and 4s hate on 3s, going, I don't understand you. And then 4s and 6s look at 5s and goes, I don't understand you. But 4s and 6s also get along. Because 6s are going, we need to make sure everybody is fair and everyone's getting fair treatment. I will be your doormat if it means you can have fair treatment. That's 6 perspective. And the 4th perspective says laws and rules, rules and laws. And the 6th perspective says justice. We go great together. And boom, you've got 4th and 6th bonding together because they've got law and order and they've got justice. And that's a great combination. If only 4ths would use justice. And then you get into 7 and 5. 7 and 5. They are both transitional stages. 5s are sandwiched between 4. They're literally emerging from the patriarchy, while 7s are removing themselves from the full matrix. I'm going to say that again. The 5ths are removing themselves from the patriarchy, but it's the 7ths who have been removed from the matrix. So 5s and 7s are transitions. And you can go one way with it or another way. 6 and 8. Six was all about letting go of the material plane. 8. I feel like I did have to let a lot go because I had to trust the universe. So there was a lot of letting go with 8. You really have to trust the universe. And that's it. Both 6s and 8s both have to trust the universe. At 6, you have to trust it, that you have to accept the loneliness ahead. You have to be okay with being alone. For me, for 8, I had to be okay with being told no by the universe, with being completely risking everything for manifestation, just like Job. That's it. 8s are Jobs. 6s are Jobs. Which means 7 and 9s. Oh. I'm new here. I don't know yet. What similarities would I have with 9s, aside from the humbling? The humbling is still there. I can communicate better, though. But I don't feel, I know, I still feel the need to communicate. But it's more precise communication. That's what I'm feeling with the 9th. But it's still way too soon to tell. I love watching how the different perspectives match up. Like the 2, the 4, the 3, the 5, the 6, the 6, 8, 7. I like that. That was fascinating for me. I'd never done that before. So I'm like, wow, do you guys see this? This is awesome. By the way, when you have perspectives, you have a high functioning perspective and a low functioning perspective, which always goes 2 jumps. So now that I'm a 9, when I low function, when I'm tired or hangry, I'm going to drop down to a 7 perspective, which means I'm going to have periods of quiet contemplating silence. Oh, I love my life now. Oh, that makes me so happy. Yes, yes, I get to brood quietly in peace. Oh, I loved being a 7 sometimes. Oh, that was my favorite part. So that's it. It's okay. So I want to show you this because this is funny. Well, funny, not haha, but funny is, and this is really cool. So when you're a 5th perspective, you drop to a 3 when you're tired or hangry. So a 5th perspective, you might be a CEO, an entrepreneur, somebody who's working a full-time, absolutely trying to make your wealth, right? But let's say, unfortunately, this person is an alcoholic. That is when they drop down to 3rd perspective and they become violent. This is exactly why we have angry drunks, because they are a 5 when they are sober, and when they drink, they drop down to a 3, and they are a 3 violent, 3 aggressor, which means they're going to become a violent drunk. If you are not a 3 aggressor and you're a 3 pacifist, then when you drink, you're just going to become sad, or you're just going to get depressed and withdraw. It's only the angry drunks that go from 5 down to 3, which is why when they're sober, they're fine. It's because when they are high functioning, they're fine. Same thing probably goes when they're overtired or hangry. That's when you have a 5 who drops down to a 3. That's why you have switches that go on and off. This is what a vulnerable narcissist is. A narcissist is a 5 who, well, they're not a 5. They're fine when everything's fine. But if they're hangry, if they're triggered, if they feel threatened, they drop to a 3, and that's when they become 3 aggressors. That's what a narcissist is when they're a vulnerable narcissist. But if they're a grandiose narcissist, they are in 3 all the time, and that is all they know is 3. Period. You're a 3. You might drop down to a 1 when you're low functioning, but you are still as reckless and as violent as a 3. That's if you're an aggressor 3. If you're a pacifier 3, a pacifist 3, then you would just go from depression to needing some maternal attention and wanting someone to take care of you. So that's, knowing where you are and then knowing how it swings to being low function is really helpful to understand where you are in all of this. So yeah, the perspectives are extraordinary. So I got to figure out how I'm going to divvy up my garden now. I've got to revamp it because everything is going free this week. Everything. All of my master classes are going to go free. I'm going to focus on public speaking and doing my podcast. I'm definitely going to be doing live events. Those are going to be for paying customers only, but all of my education material is going to go free. So all of my classes, all of my online courses are going to be free. So I'll probably do like workshops or something. That's probably the best route to go, is workshops where once I have enough people sign up, then it will default to the next Monday or something like that. And I would rather do Zoom talks and Zoom meetings rather than, I'll just do Zoom meetings for those. Yeah, definitely. I can feel it already. That my identity just went, ooh, I love that. She just purred. When you know you're aligned, when you can feel your identity purr when you get something right. So I will be doing Zoom webcams for classes going forward. All the classes that I currently have now are going to be just done on Zoom with scheduled dates. And I'm very laid back, I'm very casual, and I'm very shoot the breeze. So it's going to be very much improv work. I do have outlines, but it's me, it's improv, because authentic standards, authentic living. As I am. That is my philosophy, as I am. So thank you so much for joining me. And if you love shit like this, subscribe to my YouTube channel if you want more shit like this. And if you want to participate in my self-care regimen, daily reminder with meditation delivered to your inbox, subscribe to my amphitheater down below. And if you want to can't get enough more of this shit, then go ahead and subscribe at become a member and take a look at the get started at www.annashealinggarden.org. Thank you so much, and may the kindest of words always find you.